Hi, my name's Chris Sturhan. Welcome to another episode of Eddie Muller's Noir Bar. Each week we're going to look at and steal a chapter from Eddie Muller's Noir Bar, cocktails inspired by the world of film noir, and we're going to take a brief look at the movie that is being discussed, and we're also going to make the drink that is suggested by Eddie for this and use his recipe. So without any further ado, we're going to move on to today's topic, which is one of my all-time favorite films, The Big Clock. Now, it's one of my favorite films. It's also one of my favorite film noir films, and it's probably my absolute favorite sleeper film. If you are a person who has even a passing interest in classic film and you come over to my house, there's a good chance I'm going to try to get you to watch this movie. It's a great movie. The reason I like it so well is that it's got a great premise. Ray Milland is the editor of Crime Waves magazine, which is like a true crime magazine, which specializes in capturing high-profile criminals. He goes out on a lark with his boss's mistress, and in the process of doing that, she ends up getting murdered that night. And the real murderer decides that the person that was having drinks with her must have been the person who killed her. And so he gets put in charge of investigating the murder, so he must subtly steer it in the wrong direction while he tries to gather evidence on the real murderer. It's got a very good cast. Ray Milland and Charles Laughton, who plays Ray Milland's megalomaniac boss, are both like right in their prime, and they're just awesome. Charles Laughton, I kind of imagine him as a 1940s version of Rupert Murdoch. I mean, the movie has a couple of things I really love about it. Some of the art direction is just awesome. In the book by Kenneth Fearing, the big clock was just a metaphor, sort of like the big sleep. But in this movie, they made the big clock a thing. So you have this office building which has a gigantic clock in the lobby that dominates the lobby. The art direction is just great. It's kind of a combination of Art Deco and mid-century modern. It's fun just to look at. The rest of the cast, the main players in the cast are also very good. You have Maureen O'Sullivan as Ray Milland's wife. You have George McCready as Charles Laughton's right-hand man. You have Rita Johnson as Charles Laughton's mistress. And then the one that really kind of steals the show is Charles Laughton's real-life wife, Elsa Lanchester. She provides a lot of the humor in the film. She's only in for about 5 minutes total, but every time she's in, she just dominates it. She's just so on it, and it's so fun to watch her. In fact, in a way, for a long time, I didn't really even consider this much of a film noir, just because it's so funny. And the reason it's so funny is Elsa Lanchester just works it, and it's great. So there are some very cool little roles by people that you may know from television. We have the main one is in a credited role, but an unspeaking role is Harry Morgan, billed as Henry Morgan. And he plays Charles Laughton's right-hand man. And he's surprisingly sinister. I mean, it's scary, and you kind of look at him and go, dude, Colonel Potter, what are you doing, man? It's awesome. I do want to mention that it does have a small part for Teresa Harris, who's one of my favorite African-American actresses. She is playing a maid. Big surprise there. But the one thing that's nice about her performance there is she has a phone conversation where they give her a close-up, well, at least a medium shot, and she speaks in her normal voice, not the black speak that you often see actors of color speak in old movies. So there's no yes'm and that sort of thing. She's just speaking in a normal voice, which I have a feeling she probably always played it that way first and then played it yes'm if they asked her to. And this is one of the ones where she got to play it like she normally would. The other one that is there, if you ever watched the old 1950s Adventures of Superman TV show, the woman Noelle Neal, who played Lois Lane in that TV show for however many seasons. I don't think she was Lois Lane in the first season, but she started after that. She's in it in a very tiny role as an elevator operator. Now, I normally wouldn't even mention this, but I did actually meet Noelle Neal about 10 years ago at WonderCon. And in her 90s, she had a smile that just lit up the room. It was very cool. So I asked her about that film, and she just absolutely beamed about making this film with Ray Milland. And so it was fun to meet her and fun to hear her reminisce about this movie. So anyway, the drink that they drink in this movie is the Stinger, but it's not an ordinary Stinger. It's a Stinger made with green mint. Now, normally you would make a Stinger with white creme de menthe, and this one we're making it with green creme de menthe. Now, there's a plot reason for why they want the green creme de menthe, and the bartender completely just bitches about the creme de menthe through the green creme de menthe through the whole movie, practically.
You imagine, just because a fella doesn't like red ink, he fires him?
Earl hates green.
Oh, he does? Bartender, bring us 2 more Stingers, and this time make them with green mint.
With green mint?
Green mint, that's what the boy said.
Oh, no.
Now me, I have kind of a problem with creme de menthe, and the problem is I don't really drink it. When my wife had our 30th wedding anniversary party, we bought some creme de menthe, and somebody drank just a little tiny bit of it, and I don't know that you can see it, but it doesn't look clear anymore. It looks kind of greenish, which I assume is probably the sugar in the creme de menthe that's caramelized. And I wasn't real psyched about going out and buying another bottle of creme de menthe when it's probably going to sit there and turn like that. And I really hate the idea of pouring out booze. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do until I turned on Google one day, and it suggested a recipe for homemade creme de menthe. And I will post a link to that recipe. And this is my homemade creme de menthe. And you will see it looks kind of brownish, kind of greenish. Normally green creme de menthe is more of a bright green. So we're going to fix that right now with a little bit of food coloring.
Oh, no.
So here we go. Let's try about 2 drops. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Okay, let me...
Oh, no.
Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so we've got our green creme de menthe. Now, this is a stirred drink, so I'm going to get out my stirring jar and load it up with some ice. And this drink requires 2 ounces of cognac. So I have my new handy dandy jigger. So, there's 1 ounce. 2 ounces. And 1 ounce of creme de menthe. And we're going to give that a good stir. Now, Eddie recommends that when you're stirring a drink, you stir it 40 times. So, I don't know. I probably need to work on my stirring. Most of the time, I make shaken drinks. And sadly, I do not have my strainer with me, so I'm going to just pour it once we're done shaking. Stirring, we'll call that good enough. And it goes in a coupe glass, which looks about like this. And we're going to pour that in. Okay. All right, so here we go. The green stinger.
Oh no.
Ooh, that's kind of nice. I tried some of the creme de menthe when I had just made it, and it was almost like you were drinking a candy cane. This tastes like a real drink. It tastes minty, but you are getting the cognac there, so that's kind of nice. So, from a back corner in Eddie Muller's Noir Bar, cheers.